What's going on, everyone? It's another edition of Afro in the Know, a newer podcast that I'm doing separate from my Afro in the Scorp, because Scorp and I have different schedules. So it's a little bit different to, those stuff, harder stuff to do. Today, I have a very special guest today, all the way from the East Coast. I don't know anything about that line over there. I think you can keep that stuff over that way. But but it is Mr. Raymond. How's it going, my guy?
Oh man, I am fine. I'm fine. I'm happy to be here, man. Yeah,
I,
it feels
I
good.
appreciate it. I appreciate it, man. I really, really do. Like, I'm stoked. I was really happy to get this everything set up with you. And for those who do not know, I usually back off here. I'll give you the floor and tell us what you're all about, man.
Oh man. Oh wow. I'm on the floor here. Okay. So, um, like Afro G says, this is like a I am a writer. Well, trying to be a writer. Anyway, I write primarily like high fantasy, science fiction, and like urban fantasy type stuff, and I'm blended all together. So that's what I do. um, oh, got me on the spot, man, on this camera. This
Yeah,
is
don't worry. I did the same thing with there's another guy, Critical Film. I
yeah,
kind of gave him a chance where I was like, I'm gonna put you on the floor a little bit because I think the best way to learn is through the mouth of the person who's
oh,
who's
definitely.
experienced.
Oh, definitely. Because like for me, this is like my first podcast interview. So right now I'm like getting my feet wet, like, oh man. I really like the energy, Joe. I really like this, man. Okay, so about me. I want to say that I didn't start taking writing seriously until I want to say about 2010, honestly.
Okay.
Um, when I got out of the military about like 2005, and then for those first couple years, I didn't do any writing at all because
Mhm.
life, man.
Oh, dude, I feel that. Also, thank you for your service, dude.
Oh, yeah,
100%.
yeah. I was in the Navy, dude. Yeah, I did a couple years. Got my arm discharged and got out.
I feel that. I tried going in back when I was like 23, and I did like the test to see if you can get in, and
Mhm.
they asked if I had anything. I have asthma,
Yeah.
and they were like, there was a dude there that he was a guy from the Navy, a guy from the Army, and a guy from the Marines. So there,
Yeah.
and I was like, yeah, I'm not winning that one. So
Yeah, yeah, I went in right after high school.
okay.
So yeah, so as a matter of fact, my mom had to sign a waiver because I was like 17 when I joined.
Oh, I did not know that they needed that.
Yeah. They did because the recruiter, they like to get people right in high school. They came
Mm.
to high school, did all the meetings, and and then at the time I needed something to do, and then I left.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah, so yeah, freaking phone. Yeah, I
My
did.
phone did the same thing. So
Yeah, yeah. So I was like aviation stuff like that. But
oh, that'd be cool.
whew, yeah, I had to get it. Well, I mean, cause at the time when I went in, 9/11, 9/11 happened, and then everything just kicked off, and it was like every balls to the wall, everything, and I was like. Yeah, it just drained all my energy for it, and I
Oh, I
did
don't blame
time
you.
to get out. Yeah, but
No,
um,
I feel that. Like that
yeah,
was
yeah, it was crazy.
ugh.
That was a time. Um,
That shit's in history books now, dude. Like I'm
I know. I served. I served. I did it.
that's what's so crazy is like I look it's my birthday's 9/11.
mm,
So like when I remember I was in like 5th grade when the attack hit. And now I look back and I'm like there's kids like opening up and being like, "Oh, and on September 11th." And I'm like, "Oh, I am old."
I know, cause man, it like hits me. I was like, man, yeah, I was in there, and I did stuff for that. Um,
Thank you very much. Like I said, man, thank you.
okay. Eh, and then like from 2005 to like 2010, I really didn't do any writing because I was, trying to. I had just got out and I was, just trying to get my life back in order because everything wasn't going like I would hope as I got out because I couldn't find a job then. My dad was sick, so I went back home to like help my parents. So
Mm.
for those couple of years, I didn't do any writing. So and finally, like around about 2010, 2011, everything settled. Well, it was life was still lifing, but it settled down enough for me to actually focus on me a little bit instead of everything else that was going on outside, you know?
Understandable.
Yeah. So for me, writing, it really became, I don't want to say an obsession for me, but it really started to make me want to be a writer then. Because like in my area in this small town, like there wasn't like, you know, a culture for it,
Hmm.
There was no little coffee shops. There was no like bookstores in this area. Nothing that could like guide me to where to guide me in the direction that I needed to be a writer.
Right.
So then I had to figure that out all by myself. You know.
That's not
So,
easy.
yeah, but it was not. Um, so I started like on this website called Wattpad, right?
Okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. So I started on this website called Wattpad, and then I wrote like three stories. One of them I just stopped because I wasn't feeling it, but the other two, one of them was called The Tribulation of Jacob Penn, and then the other one was called The Chronicles of Shaded Earth, Wilders of the Dark. That one became the foundation to the story that I'm writing now,
Okay.
to the main one that I'm writing now. But the Tribulations of Jacob Penn, that one is still on Wattpad, actually.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, I keep that one just like as a timestamp, like for myself as like a little time capsule to see how far I have became as a writer. Because every time I look at it, I'm like, I wrote that. I don't like it. I don't know. I'm saying to me, the writing is just bad now. But it got some good views. It got some good comments. So it made me think that I can actually do this. It gave me the confidence that I needed to like continue. But yeah, it's still on there. No, I didn't. I did not take it down. But the Wilders of the Dark, the Chronicles of Shaded Earth, yeah, I took that down because that it has become the foundation to my stories now, to the main series that I've been working on for all these years. Yeah, that one.
That's got and I gotta ask. So your like what were they about?
Okay, so Tribulation of Jacob Penn. That one was it was kind of like it was like an adult version of Percy Jackson,
Hmm.
but with black characters mixed with, I want to say, because I was definitely reading American Gods at the time, so
Oh,
so then it was like a mixture of that.
I've
It
heard
was
that's good.
yeah, yeah, it was like a mixture of both of those.
Mhm.
But it was about this ex Navy SEAL, and he fell in love with the Greek goddess of war called Enyo, and Zeus was like he had forbade it because of prophecy. You know how them Greek prophecies are, like the son is gonna take over the father. So
Mhm.
he didn't want another demigod coming up and you know and to taking over. But he made a mistake because when um Jacob was coming up, he like cursed his adopted family, and and Jacob took that personally. And then it was like prophesied that he was gonna be like the next god of destruction, and then he took that war to the gods.
Mm.
He took it to them. So that was that was that, and that's still on Wattpad.
I'll have to go check. I'll have to go check that then.
Oh, but
Um, that
oh
sounds
yeah,
dope.
yeah. It was for fun writing, and then I might go back and revisit it sometime, but not right now because I know I definitely have to go through it and re-edit it because it was my earlier stuff, dude. It's
Mm.
the writing is. But people did like it, and that gave me the me that gave me like the yeah, it was confidence because I was like your writing doesn't have to be perfect for someone to enjoy it. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that was that. And I was like, okay, so I can really do this. I then after that I started taking it like personally. I started joining like these Facebook writing groups, and I started to, you know, write short stories. I did a couple short stories and submitted them, but I got rejected. So
Oh, I mean, you gotta get those. You take those rejections before you get one accepted.
yeah. So then I took those in stride. I was like, okay, that is. And then when I read through the stories after they got rejected, I was like, okay, I see why. I see why now. So I had to fix this. I got to work on this. I got to work on my storytelling. I got to work on my plot and like all that type of stuff.
Did they give you the feedback for it, or they were just like, nah?
Some of them did. Some of them didn't.
Okay.
Some I just got a blanket like generic rejection letter, but other ones they gave me a couple little plot points, a little couple little things and what I needed to work on. But I was like,
Okay.
okay,
No,
um,
that's nice. I'm glad that they
yeah,
are willing
yeah,
to do that.
yeah. Some of them are not. Some of them are not. So I took those rejections and I worked on that.
That's fair.
Now. Now, Wilders of the Dark. That that has become my baby. That has become my main story for right now. Back then, I think it has changed so much. It started off as an adult dark fantasy.
Okay.
It was about oh, golly, it has changed so much. I'm trying to remember exactly. Um, I know that it was like this this dragon had fell from heaven,
Mhm.
and then some priest was trying to bring it back. um Priest had tried to bring it back, and my characters was like these like three like triplets who was like these shadow beings from this other world that had to kind of like stop that from happening.
Mhm.
So, and then there was like dark elves and everything in it. It was just focused on shadow and darkness and like all that type of stuff.
Okay.
And then when I was like going through it and looking at the dark elves characters that I had made, and then I realized that they were too similar. They was like he was too similar to this character called Driss Urden.
Okay.
Yeah, cause he had the dual wheels. He was a dark elf. I
Mm.
was like, if I write this, people are going to like connect him with R.A. Sabatour's work, and I did not want that at all. So I took that, and then I put that character on the back and made him like a background character, and
Mm.
then I took the story of the shadow people and the triplets, and then I changed that completely. I kept like the core of the characters, and instead of making them like three triplets, I made them like three best friends.
Okay.
Then I turned that into this YA story that I had started. That had turned yeah, it had became YA at that point. It was called The Rim of Erde at that time.
Mhm.
So uh, and yeah, so I had turned it, and yeah, because I wanted, I, I had started out trying to make this story like a YA story because that what was popular, that what was getting sold in stores and stuff. Because
Right.
I spent a lot of time, like in like Walmart and bookstores and stuff, looking at books and look at how they were formatted and what was being sold and everything like that. Yeah, just trying to
That
figure.
makes sense though. Like, I
Yeah,
mean, it's a trend, isn't it?
yeah,
Is it
it
not?
was trendy. It was, yeah, it was commercial. So I was like, okay, so this is how you get books sold. This is what it takes to get your book out there, right? So, oh, that was a learning experience too, because after that, I was like, well, I mean, back then, because this was probably about like 2013, 2014, like around then. Because you know, independent books, they weren't seen as, as like, I don't want to say bad. I mean, they weren't seen like as like marketable. They wasn't.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So then I was like, I don't know if I want to go that route. And then I was looking at what it took, the printing, the printing costs and all that. I was like, do I want to do this? Do I want to go independent? Because I feel like I could, but then it was like, how would I just want I want as many people to read my book as possible.
Right.
So if I go independent, I don't know if people are gonna read it or not. And I was like, then I tried to tackle deal with that in my head. While starting to, write this book. And then I tackled with that. And then I joined a couple good Facebook writing groups and people was telling me you need to take all of that out of your head. Don't worry about, selling your book now. Don't worry about, saying marketing and all that stuff now. You just have to write the book first. Write it first. And that's what I did, I just started focus on writing it. And then it came up about my writing name because I was using like R.N. Murray instead of Raymond N. Murray as my writing name. And then a couple people in the group was like, "Why are you like using a pen name instead of your real name? Because your real name is better than your pen name." Yeah, I was
That's
like, "Oh,
fair.
yeah, 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 that's good too." I mean, so no, so join some writing groups. They will definitely help you. Say, well, the right people will anyway. I would say that because everybody's not gonna be your friend. Everybody is not gonna give a fuck about what you're doing. That's
Right.
definitely for sure. But
Well, and that makes a lot of sense. I did the something similar where I put mine. I don't know why I thought it was a good idea, but I was running a screenwriting group on Reddit, and so I didn't have a proper formatting at the time, so I kind of winged it in the way that I only knew how. And my first work got absolutely just eviscerated. It was awful, and I definitely was a little hurt. I'm not gonna lie, I was a little, it was kind of discouraging because I did put a lot of time into it. But then I sat back and I actually just all I did was I thanked the other person
mm,
and the person that just ripped it apart.
yeah,
And they came back later and they were like, yes, like there's stuff you can there's stuff you need to work on. Obviously, there's a lot here, and they encouraged me to go look at this site called Celtex,
mhm.
which is a for screenwriting, and so I've been using that format ever since.
Oh yeah,
But it is. You're right though. Like finding the right group is huge.
yes, it's definitely, especially if you don't have a blueprint to how to do everything, and they would definitely help because I definitely took my shots. People,
Mm,
I have had people read my work and then they bring it back and they was like, this is not good, this is not good, and then this, and this, and this. So I was like, okay, I got that now, and then And then I started working on that. Now with this like YA, you know what I'm saying? I had wrote I had it was gonna be a YA story, and I had got almost to like 200 pages in, and then I
Oh,
stopped.
wow.
200 pages in, and then something hit me, was like if I continue with this story like this, and then the other stories that I had planned, cause it was gonna be like this 4-book series. So then I was like, if I continue on like this, I'm gonna have to do some time skips and everything, because the later content is gonna be not good for these high school kids that I have based this book upon. And then I was like, I don't want to do a time skip, but I'm gonna have to if I continue on with them like this, because they was like freshmen in high school at the time. So I was like, nah, I'm not gonna not gonna do that. So I changed them from high school kids to college, and then that changed like my whole genre to like new adult. And that's what I'm working in now, because new adult is just like from like, I want to say from like 18 to like maybe like 30, and my characters are and my characters are like 25,
Okay.
so they're like adults. And then I was more comfortable writing it. Then I was like, okay, so now all these situations that I put them in, I am okay with, especially going forward in the story, because it's gonna be dark. It's gonna be rebellion. It's gonna be like wars and everything like that. So I was like, okay, good. I am happy with that. I'm good with that.
I like that a lot, though. Like
Yeah,
that's smart. That's smart because I mean, it is. It's especially if you want to show that or like a book, whatever kind of source of media. I mean, it's so different, from a high schooler to an
yeah, that,
adult. That is huge
yeah,
jump in
yeah.
mindset
It
and
was definitely it was definitely a huge jump. And so then I didn't like get rid of the YA book altogether. I use that as just as lore, as background for my characters now. So everything that happened to them in that YA, it happened in their past. So that is what made them these characters now. So I go back to it every now and then, just sprinkle in some lore, from their childhood days and into this story. Um, so
so.
then. Ooh.
So there's a question here. Has there been any challenges due to the change in times and the ever-changing new generations of kids, young adults, and new adults that pop up?
Oh,
It's a really good question.
oh yeah, that is a good. Does that pertain to like the story, or is he asking
I'm
about?
guessing, like just like our own societal times and how it changes within the story, like how they talk and all that stuff as well.
Oh yeah, like definitely. Like those characters, like when they was like in high school, they was like bullied a lot, his they was bullied a lot. And then and that shaped them, because they had to figure out how to make that stop, how to like how to live in their own skin, kind of. And then at the time, they didn't really have the abilities and the powers that they have now, you know what I mean? so
Right.
um so yeah, I mean, for me, I used a lot of my childhood when I was writing those characters, and it was like to a high. Whew,
it's
how much
it's
of
it,
this? How much?
it's tough.
How much of this do I really want the world to know?
No, that's understandable.
Yeah,
That's
yeah.
what's because I
Um,
know I'll speak with myself. I've done the same thing where like it's fun. I think it's fun in a way
mm,
to put a bit of yourself into these the characters. Like what if I'm writing a new different like a different character or something like that. What I find fun is like as I'm writing it down, I'm like, oh, like I'll either I'll say something that I say or maybe something that like I have a friend
yeah,
of mine that starts writing it. I'm like. Oh, they speak the same way.
Yeah, that's exactly. But then I was like, and then I had to start like going back and looking at the time frame that the story was in. I was like, okay, so how were they talking in the early 2000s? Like, how was music in the early 2000s? And I had to make sure that all of that lined up with the story. So I was like, okay, so in the early 2000s, this music was going on. This is how the kids were talking. But this is
It's
that. Yeah.
I do will say there's a newfound respect for when like I'll use like movies for example when movies have to go back to
Mhm,
like an earlier time period like 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s
mhm.
because if you didn't live there or even just grow up during that era like a lot of the lingo is going to be super lost to you.
Yeah. Yeah, so
You know.
that's I had to make sure I had to get that right. So all of the so like all their manners of speakings, that was like so 2000s. Matter of fact, that was like 10 years ago for them. So then that would have been maybe about like 2015, I want to say. So I had to go back to that and like and and research everything that was going on back in like 2015, 16, stuff like that for the
Oh
work.
boy,
Yeah.
I
So
don't even want to go back to think about that. Like,
yeah,
that's,
exactly.
like it's like oh, I think about. I'm like, damn, that is. Yeah, I am getting old. I don't
Yeah.
like that feeling at all.
Like, wait, what was going on then? What music? I'm like, okay, I got to make sure all that lines up because people like to research stuff.
Oh
People,
no,
yeah,
absolutely. I know that I'm the type of person that goes I delve when I find something I'm interested in, I delve into the rabbit hole and
yeah,
just go fall in and so it's definitely wild.
yeah.
And you know, you mentioned your so your main character, like a lot of your characters are black though, right?
Well, let's see. Well, I got well the trio themselves. They're kind of like a mix of characters because some of them are based off friends that I had growing up. So
Mm.
um, Georgia is black. Layla, she is mixed. She is black and like Dominican. She's
Okay,
like
cool.
Latina, and then Royce is this white character. Royce Royce is based off a couple people that I met while I was in the military, and it's the
I like that.
hood white boy types, but
Mm.
not like the fake kind. They are like the legitimate kind. I mean, I kind of mixed him between two friends I had, because one was this like Mexican guy who who was adopted by this black family, and then this other one was this white dude from Dade County, and then he was also adopted by this black family too. So I kind of mixed those two characters up together. Then I was like, okay, I can see why you talk like this. I can see why you act like this. All because how they was raised, because they was raised, they got adopted when they was like 3 and 4 years old, kind of. So I
Right.
was like, okay, I see it. And then I was like, and now when when they was like talking to other black people, they would get those little side eye glances, like not knowing like not knowing the story that I know them. Know what I mean? Like
Right.
that, because I have seen the family photos. You know what I mean? I seen I seen the family photos and everything. I was like, okay, I get it. I got you. I got you. So,
I
and
love
then
that.
I kind of put those, and then I made that type of character for my story, cause Royce, he kind of got adopted by my MC's family as kids too, and then they all have grown up together. Um, like in my story, they all went to like um Layla. She came from Chicago as a middle schooler, and she came down south. But Royce and Georgia, they grew up together. They was in kindergarten and all that stuff together. They grew up as friends together. And then Royce's family had went south. I mean, just that stuff happened, and then Georgia family, my MC family, had to become legal guardians of him because he was homeless and all that
Oh
type of stuff.
wow.
So yeah, so with that, um
That's
yeah,
awesome.
but I was like, okay, yeah, I like these characters. I really do like these characters. Oh, um. Yeah, so now, like as the story has gone, it's like Georgia, Layla, and Royce. They're like 25 years old. They're grown. They're adults, and they have their own life stuff going on in the story. So
That's no, that's important though. Like, 'cause I mean, there's always a lot of times where it's like, okay, you have your characters, and then like their whole focus is, let's say, saving the world, but then you forget that they're still people. They have stuff going on outside of them.
yeah, that,
So it doesn't seem like they're just kind of narrow minded or
mm-mm,
like a one track mind, which is good. I love that.
yeah.
Uh, I have to ask though, because I'm guessing you since you said it's a fantasy story, I'm
Hmm.
guessing your story has a central antagonist, a person that I can call possibly a villain.
Oh, definitely. There are two villains. Well, there is a main villain. There is this little sub villain, but the main villain of the story is the government, is the royal structure around them.
Right.
Because my MC's father, he was like this prince that got exiled from his kingdom, and then he came to Earth, and now and then he was like exiled because his powers had went out of control, and he nearly destroyed his kingdom. So that was political stuff behind that,
Mm.
and then yeah, there was political stuff around that, and then when he came to Earth, um, he met my MC's mother, and of course, they had the kids and everything like that. But as far as the political stuff, um, my MC's father, the king, he is about to step down now, and he needs an heir, and then there are like these other houses trying to take the throne from him because of what the prince did by nearly destroying the kingdom.
Hmm.
So that so
Makes sense.
yeah, so and now my MC's father, no, yeah, my MC's father, he's like, he really doesn't want his son to be in that life, because it was like he don't want him to like be in that life, but he doesn't really have a choice now. Wow, my phone. No, who texting me? No, I'm not doing nothing. Okay. Okay. Oh.
Yeah. No, that's
Mm,
that's great. No, I love that though, because there is. I mean, a lot of times when you do have, you mentioned like a villain. There's the big cent. You said the central villain, and then like I'm guessing your sub villain is potentially the like kind of the face of the big villain or something. Then.
okay, so let me get my thoughts back here. Okay, so I do have like a little. I have. He's like I want to say he is like a plot villain. He just there to like move certain elements of the story forward.
Mm-hmm.
So he is like this like dark creature that like this parasite that has taken over this one like real decent character, like this one pure good character, and made him do horrible things. And now his only purpose, like the good character, is like this. His name is Ezra, and he got infected with this like demonic parasite, and that parasite had forced him to do like all types of evil stuff, and then and then his only like way to die is by having the king's like magical like weapon. He can only die from very powerful magic. But the king, he was like, no, I'm not gonna kill you because of what you did. You know what I mean? Like all the crimes you have committed against, so our people that was once your people, I'm gonna let you live with that, and then I'm not gonna kill you. And so now, no, he has that villain has to live with everything that he has did, but he also wants to die to like stop this parasite from like doing more evil stuff. But the only way he
Mm.
can do it is to make the king kill him. And that is the second, and that's like that little second, like main plot villain with that character. So, and
Okay.
that is, and then, and that is what my MC is gonna have to deal with. That is gonna be his first like major challenge is dealing with this little villain first before he becomes what he needs to be for the story. Uh, but the overall villains in the story is gonna be the government. It's gonna be like this fairy senate that I have. Uh, yes, yeah. These royal houses, the government. It's gonna be like rebellion. It's gonna be all that type of stuff, and those is the main villains. Um,
That's understandable.
yeah, and like it's gonna be like but it's like Amarna, and then it's like 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 a modern version of like Avalon. Yeah, that's the name of it. It's like this modern like version of like Avalon.
Okay.
And then in Avalon they got um they're like this fairy senate that is like pushing like the people down. They have like unseelie like fairy slaves and all that type of stuff.
Oh
And
wow.
yeah, so yeah, and it's like a really oppressive government over there. Everything is censored. They got the slaves, they got all of that there. And then and and then like my character Roy he is kind of like descended from that family that once ruled over Avalon. And now with him growing up like he's growing up, with Georgia, with the black family, with all of that, he has to go and he has to deal with that in his own way because he knows like he knows like the history with black people in America and then like all of that. And and he has to deal with what his family did, like with it. Yeah. So it's
No, it definitely is a lot, and it's like the more when you sit there and you're like, wow, this is a lot deeper than I even imagined. Like,
so it's definitely that. And then Georgia has to deal with his family's like past because like the king of Amarna, he was a king. He is now considered a good guy, but back then he has definitely did some things to build his kingdom to make it peaceful. And
mm,
and now when he's like goes through like the history of what his grandfather did, he's like, he's not really a good guy, but I know saying everybody thinks that he is, but he's not. And he's like, Is this the type of king that I want to be?" You know what I mean? And he's like, I'm not gonna do this. I'm not gonna do the same things that he has done. So yeah, so it's definitely a lot of family legacy stuff going on in the background. And then for my female character, Layla, she has her own like little story going on. Like her mother had went missing, and and then her friends were trying to help her figure out what happened to her mother, and it turns out like this, she was like she was like this FBI agent. She had went undercover, and she was like investigating like this art heist, and then the art heist had came across like this magical artifact, and she had found it, and then there was like these other like it's like this secret organization that I had built that kind of like keeps magic secret, and they was there trying to get the artifact, and then she ran across that artifact and she got injured, and she got infected by it, and then they had to take her and make her disappear. And so then Layla was trying to figure out why her mother went missing, and she don't know where she is, and then all that stuff. And then turns out that everything is connected. I had to make sure that everything is connected, and now they all are going to this other world together. So
Okay.
and yeah, so it's a story. It's definitely the story though. Yeah,
Um,
I got it planned out for like 4 books right now.
oh my gosh. I know, like I've seen that, like you make videos, like always going through kind of the process, whether it's editing, whether it's you know the character building or something like that, and
Mm,
I've always like wondered because I'm the type that like a lot of times I write very short. Like I love stories. Like I wrote one um about this these two, well, this woman who ends up talking to the new elect president of the United States, and it's an alien. She's an alien,
hmm
and the other woman who's her assistant is also an alien. Their goal was basically to infiltrate Earth, and they've done it. She has become that, and it's just them talking about, more or less how she's mentioning how she's not really ever going to be able to look through her eyes anymore,
mm,
and how even though I would love, she's mentioning like to go and tell I think I'll call them the Mappa, right, which is like their her people, and she's
yeah,
like, no, just one moment, what I mean, like you've
yeah,
done, and so I've shown that they're also together in it, what I mean, like they're also like romantically involved and stuff like that,
oh, yeah,
very
yeah,
subtly, and it's just very short, but like I got the, and to me in my mind, I'm like, I got the full story of what I'm trying to tell in just a couple pages, and
yeah.
I love doing those. Like I love those. I think they're the most they're interesting, but it's always it's I always find them fun. Like I'd always wonder where people get their creativeness from. Like I'm doing a short story right now, screenplay style, from through the perspective of like Mrs. Claus. If you combine Mrs. Claus and like John Wick almost,
Those
and
stories are always fun.
it's
Those are,
just something. Yeah, they just enter your brain, and I throw on some music, be like, okay, that's good enough, and I just go. So I've
yeah.
always wondered where do you get your creative freedom, or like
Oh
when
man.
you get those juices flowing, you know what I mean? Like when they just hit.
Oh,
Um,
so like first, I tried to write short stories, but it wasn't working for me because as soon as I start writing like short stories, I start like diving into like, okay, I can expand on this, I can add to this, I can make this more, and I was like, no, I was like, the story is supposed to be short, and it ends up being this big old thing. It ends up being this big, massive thing. But as far as my creative like urges, where to get those from? Oh man. Like like when I first started writing, there wasn't a lot of, like fantasy imagery like it is now with, black characters as fairies, as elves and like all that. So for me, you know, I built all that from my own thoughts. from my own mind.
Right.
But I have been, inspired by pictures that I've seen online, like from like Pinterest and fantasy magazines and all that. Yeah, but mostly mostly I had to uh mostly I've been driven by myself. But yeah, but I don't know. I don't know what actually urged me to write this. I know that one time when I was walking home one day, and then I was just coming home from the library at the time. Um, and then it was just like this, like open field, like by my house, and then I just stopped, and I was just staring at like everything, looking like a crazy person, like, and then I was just like lost in thought, and then I don't know, just like something hit me for a story. I don't know what it was, and then I was just like it, I took it as a sign, I guess. I don't know, but it was just like it was. I can't really explain. It was just like inspiration. It just had just hit me for
Yeah.
an idea for a story, and I don't know where the hell it came from. And I kind of took that.
A random picture, a stray thought, a random conversation, a passing joke, anything and everything can ignite that match in your brain.
Yeah, that's exactly what it was. It was just like a random, just
Oh my gosh, I love that.
oh, that is my sister's. She's gonna have to wait. Come back later. I don't know what you're calling me for. But yeah, it was just like a random like thought just like entered my brain. Um, but I want to say what really kind of what really inspired me was the fact that I couldn't find any stories at the time with black people as fairies, as elves and anything. And the only thing that I could find that really came close to what I wanted to write was these stories called Shadowrun. Yeah, Shadowrun was like this massive like tabletop game, and there are a few books about it. There was like elves and magic, and like it was like cyberpunk with elves.
Okay, it sounds familiar. I feel like it's
Yeah, because it was like from the 80s, dude. Like late 80s, early 90s. It was cyberpunk with elves. And I was like, yeah, this is what I want to write. This is the type of stuff that I want to write. And that is what really inspired me. That is what really inspired me. I was like, okay, these are the characters that I want to write. This type of stuff that I want to write. And quite frankly, I haven't seen really anything like that since. Anything really similar. I know there's a lot of science fiction stories. I know there are a lot of fantasy stories, but it's not. Haven't seen many that actually combine all those elements together like
hmm
that. And that is what I'm writing now.
that makes sense. I mean, if you don't see it, just go and do it yourself. You
Yeah.
know, and it's tough too. I'm not gonna lie, because that's a lot of genres that goes into one, and
Mhm.
it's very much like, you're making a cake or something like that.
Oh yeah,
You know,
definitely do. I mean, because I'm telling you, I have gone through many of these little composition notebooks. I mean, I had like a stack
oh my
like
gosh.
this big, of like lore and stuff that works and stuff that doesn't work. And then, like I said earlier, about going into some of these like Facebook or like writing groups and stuff that I was in, I would have discussions of what works and what doesn't work, and like world building tips and everything like that. People would say, like, remember that Fae are like allergic to iron. So how are you gonna make sure that you keep that in your world. Then I was like, okay, so if they are allergic to iron, I have to make sure, like, how would that really affect them coming to Earth? Because in this world that I created, there is no iron. So
Right.
when it comes to Earth, it's like, okay, and then there's like iron and everything here. So if they do eat food, how would it affect them? Know what I mean? It makes them itch and
I didn't
scratch.
even think about that. Yeah,
Yeah,
like
so yeah, I have definitely been definitely lower upon lower that I have made. Like
well,
like in this like speaking on that, like in this world that I created called Earth Day, be like I had made it so that, I had to make it so that the world elements are like different than Earth to make it make sense of why Fae are allergic to iron and then all of that. So I made it like that this planet when it was forming, it formed differently, and instead of like iron in its core, they have like this other element that I call like topa, and
okay.
instead of iron it's that. And then when they come to Earth, since they don't have like that iron in their system like Earth does, it makes them itch and make them scratch, and it's different. So and when my MC father came over here, he kind of had to adjust, and he had to eat like mush and
Well,
mush and make yeah
and
till
then it's so crazy too because it's like it's those little things you don't even think about.
yeah.
Like right one here, they got messed up if they actually ate our cereal. Like,
Yeah, he did. You know what I'm saying? He actually had to adjust to he had to adapt to it because it was like the mush. He had to eat like really organic stuff. You know what I mean?
hmm
His wife was like, it was like, when you first came over, you couldn't eat any of our food. She was joking with me. He was like, I still itch a little bit. So it was yeah. I had to make sure that the little things match up in the world building, so this definitely has been a lot.
Oh, I can imagine. That's why I always wondered, like when I see those, because those competition books, I use the same thing, and I'm like, man, could you? I look at like I'm a big anime fan myself, so when I look at like a show like Naruto, One Piece, or Bleach, I'm just imagining like Oda just having a whole closet just full of like those books, just like, and be every and none of the books say what is the One Piece like. Just,
Oh God, I definitely feel like that I have had those moments because I definitely have had books after books and pages and pages open. I know that my computer has been, if the FBI would like look at my search history, it would be all over the place.
Oda is a super nerd, all bow before Oda.
Oh,
uh,
definitely. Yeah.
yeah, definitely. You got a good question here too, actually. So when it comes to names of anything, how much of it is you just winging it, and how much of it is you taking inspiration that of all already exists? Because man,
Okay.
I suck at names.
Okay. So,
That's a good
um,
one.
yeah. So Earth Day itself, I know that it's like I think I think Earth Day, that's actually a real thing. I can't remember exactly where I got it from, but I was looking at names of like the planets, and it's like some of these names of like from these other fantasy stories. I just wanted to make sure I have something that wasn't used already, you know. So then I came up with Earth Day. But as far as names like El Marna itself, I know that that came from like this ancient Egyptian like land that had disappeared like 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 long ago, and then I had used that. I was like, okay, yeah, I mean that would be good. As far as like names and places within the story itself. I took a lot of everything. Well, as far as Avalon is concerned, I I took a lot from like European like stuff because I wanted to keep that feel exactly how it should be, um especially when you are like incorporating like Arthurian's myth. You know Arthur, like King Arthur stuff. You want to keep all of that as closely as you can because people know that stuff. Especially with King Arthur's myth and Arthurian legends, Avalon, and all that stuff. You can want to keep as much of that similar as you can, and that is what I did. And I didn't call it Camelot. I think it's called Camelon. I kept some European stuff in there, like some of the names, and like one of the leaders over there, is a female. She is like the descendant from King Arthur and like everything over there. But she runs instead of it being like a kingdom with like knights and like ruling like classes. She kind of like owns this corporation that makes weapons.
Mhm.
So she is like this weapon manufacturer and that type of stuff. So and she sees like the stuff that happened with King Arthur like in the past. It's just like it happened then. She even has Excalibur hanging on her wall. She kind of like she kind of respects it, but then again she doesn't. You know what I mean? Because uh, how people get about their past. It was then, and that is she she is. I kind of see her as like a female Tony Stark type of character in my
Okay,
book. Yeah,
that's
so
a good way to look at it.
yeah, she is like a female Tony Stark type of character. Um, but yeah, I keep everything as grounded as I can when it comes to like fantasy names because, like they say, everything has everything has been done. You feel like almost everything has been done. There is nothing new under the sun. And I was like, okay, but how can I use that to like keep it ground? So I have used like names and places and like history, and it's deeply um yeah, Earth history is deeply tied in with this world that I created because like us I want to say like since
Yeah, we can't all be Tolkien and just treat it our own freaking language.
no like with the language, I kind of like made it like phonetically like similar, especially when the alien language. I instead of because I was like I can't like you said, and Tolkien creating his own language. I was like, oh God. I tried that, and then I was like, that's not gonna work for me. I don't have the patience.
No, that's hard. Like the fact that he made his own language is just
Yeah,
dedication.
and then I was like, but then again, I did want a magical language that was like, spell casting that sounded like it was spell casting. So what I did was I used I used like the phonetic, you know, I used like the phonetic like sounding of the words to make the language.
We could always just use Gen Z alpha language or whatever speak that is. Also,
Oh,
that's gonna make me feel old. I'm not gonna lie
oh,
about that, Jack.
language. Oh my God.
And that's funny because it does. Everyone does have their own language in a way, and I will say like that's one thing that's I found really interesting about something like I'm gonna go all the way back to Skyrim, right?
Mhm.
Because the dragons had their own language.
Yeah.
And so I remember reading in there that when they're shooting their fire and lightning or whatever it is, they're just speaking their own language. And I'm like, I mean, I thought that was cool. It's a cool way to introduce it. You know what I mean? Introduce a different language into there
Yeah,
and see how they do it.
yeah,
Uh,
and then like I do have um like these other creatures, they have their own language. Like the trees in my story, they actually speak like tree speak, but you have to study to kind of like understand it because it's like wispy wind type and rustling of the leaves and like all that type of stuff, and you actually have to study it to like understand it. So it's called, yes, tree speak.
oh,
Yeah.
I like that though. Like I actually never really thought about that. Yeah, like just the winds and how the winds will go through the trees and stuff. They actually
Yeah.
communicate.
Yeah, because I was inspired from that because of like remember that Disney Pocahontas talking about the language of
Color
the,
of the wind.
yeah, yeah. So I was inspired by that, and I was like, okay, yeah, I can use that for like the trees and like all that type of stuff. And I was like, okay, yeah,
I
and that
love that.
yeah,
I
and
do. I
that really
absolutely
works.
love that.
And
Like,
then
oh, go. My bad. I
okay,
jumped into that really. I
okay.
got like super into it. I was like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, because at the time, my mother who had passed away, she was like big on flowers and plants. She had like flowers everywhere. She had like a real green thumb, and then I was kind of inspired by that because she would be outside talking to her plants and everything, and I was like, yo, yes, I could put that into my story. And so I made like this whole tree language and everything. And then like when my MCs actually went into the forest as kids, they actually like scarred their name on some trees, you know. And then when they came back, you know, when the whole bunch of magical stuff happened, the trees were like alive. They was like, I remember what you did. You did this.
Oh no no.
You did this. Yeah. You said and and the trees and the forest was actually mad at them. They was like, no, I know you are not coming back after this after what you carved into my trunk and all this type of stuff. So
I
yeah.
mean, if someone went and carved into my skin, I'm pretty sure I wouldn't be happy. Like,
Yeah. So I was like, okay, yeah, I like this. Yeah, but oh my God, it's yeah.
uh, exactly. Oh, the dark elf says, "Bro, your lack of riz for reals is straight copium. Take your glizzy and biggity bounce."
Oh my, oh man.
Oh, I don't. I'm not gonna lie to you, Jack. I know you're in here. I don't think I could. I don't know if I could continue reading a book if I heard that line in this.
Oh man, no, I could not take my dark ass seriously if he said,
Oh my god!
"Yeah, I
If I,
would be." It
it'd be
would.
like on those like dark elves, like the dark elf being like, "So do you play Fortnite?" And like,
Oh man,
like that's
God.
what. But that's what. Because it's funny because when you mentioned too, like you're not. You have to study and stuff. I'm like, damn, I'm not. I don't think I'm high enough level to tree speak. Like,
Oh yeah, because definitely because of my characters in the book, they definitely had to study it, and then every time they speak it, it's like broken English. So,
mm,
and the trees be laughing at them like, yeah, like
mm.
no,
that
need to go back and study some more.
I don't know why, but it also reminds me. I used to read these books. I remember them in my middle school library. But they used to read these books, and they were. It was so weird. It was like D&D in the book.
Hmm.
So you had like they would set up. You have so much for your materials, your inventory. You have your stats and blah blah blah. And then as you read it like normal, but then you enter into like an aspect where all of a sudden, or like you have to go and do battle with someone.
I never
I wish I could find them. I've been looking for them
like that. Yeah,
because unlike when I was in middle school, I'm not stupid anymore. So like I'm trying to like to figure out exactly what it is, and I
and the only thing that I could think of that would be even anywhere near close to that was like those choose your own adventure books back in the day. But I haven't heard of anything like that. You know?
Oh yeah, and I wish I wish I could. Like, I wish I could find them so badly. And I don't remember. It bothers me internally.
I hate those
Because
moments, man. And it's,
yeah, well, that's what happened with like so I don't know about you. I wish I'm not gonna ask you, but is so what is your favorite book series?
oh my God. Favorite book series. Um, my favorite book series would be um I want to say The Wizard of like Earthsea. Those type of stories. Those are the types that I grew up reading. Because I was too old for like Harry Potter when Harry Potter and stuff like that came out. And I was already yeah, yeah. So I would say like Wizard of Earthsea, like The Crystal Shard by R.A. Salvatore. Oh my God, it's just a lot of the older stuff, man.
It's hard.
Yeah. So, mm, golly, I don't know.
I
I
think
don't
because I know like for myself, it'll always have a soft place in my heart, and it's always gonna be the Goosebumps series. They're
know.
always something that will sit there, and that's actually why I got back into writing because I used to write. I started writing when I was like 8, like developed my own superhero, all that other kind of stuff, and then I stopped for a long time, and then I started kicking back into just hobby writing.
Oh yeah, no, saying my favorite book as a kid was like scary stories to tell in the dark.
Ah, scary stories to tell in the dark. I love those ones,
Oh
and
yeah, yeah, oh yeah.
yeah, it was the Goosebumps series, and I never got to finish the series, right? Because I was missing a book, and it
Oh
was Chicken Chicken. It was one of the original set of books, right? They're
yeah.
probably like $200 now. But the original set of books and the Chicken Chicken was missing. And when I was working with I was working with troubled teenagers for like 3 years. And during that time, I found it. They had the book,
Oh
and
man.
so I would sit back because I had to sit in this classroom because this classroom like the kids were act up, and it didn't help that the teacher wasn't very
Yeah.
was a yeah she was kind of an old head too. But like I would sit there and I would read the book, and I remember I'll always remember this. And I kept telling this kid because he just kept acting up, and I was like, "Dude, knock it off! Like you're getting ridiculous." And he did it a couple more times, and I look at him and I'm like, "So help me God, if I gotta put this goddamn book down." And and he looks at me and he's like, "What's so great about the book?" And I'm like, "Oh, I'll walk outside." I walk him outside. I'm like, "This is the last book, and then I finished the entire thing. I finished my whole thing. You see the Goosebumps book? I finished it." So I'm gonna finish this book. You're gonna stop making noise, and you're gonna continue with your studies. So I put him back in there. The rest of the day made no issues at all,
Oh man.
and so I loved it. Like and that and Del Toro Quest. I don't know if you ever read those ones, but they were. If you ever had a chance to look them up, they're like more like for like teenagers and stuff like that, like young, like it was like a younger audience, but they'll always stick into my mind because that was my first real dip into fantasy.
Oh man. Actually, cause like my favorites were was like Stephen King books, like Stephen King, and then and Neil Gaiman until all this stuff about him came out. I was like, Neil, why did you have to do all that stuff?
No,
Oh
it was I'm not gonna lie, like there's a lot of Stephen King. I'm really surprised that my middle school also had Green Mile.
yeah.
I mean, good. Great book. Love the series. Maybe not appropriate for 13-year-olds.
You know what I'm saying? And yeah, and like some of my favorite stuff was like Stephen King's. It was like the whole Dark Tower stuff.
Oh,
Yeah,
did you
yes,
watch the movie?
I saw the movie, and
See,
I
I didn't know about the book series, so then I watched the movie first, and I was like, I don't get it.
I saw the movie, and I read the books, and I was like, why did he have this made, Stephen? Like,
Why is
you
this
know,
villain Matthew Mc? Why is this villain Matthew McConaughey?
why
Like,
is he Matthew McConaughey? Like, no, like, no, like, oh my God, like, no. Um, and then I was a huge fan of like Neil Gaiman until all this stuff came out about him, and I was like, Neil, why you have
I've
to do
heard.
it?
Oh, that's why.
Yeah, and then I was like, why do you have to ruin my books, Neil?
That's why I did. I
What?
typed in Neil Gaiman, but I didn't look right away, and I'm like, yeah, what the big deal? Oh,
Ruin my books, Neil. You had to ruin my books.
like, I mean, I don't think Stephen King even wanted the movie series until it was fully done according
Yeah,
to.
I don't think he wanted that out. Yeah, because
I would. I mean, I wouldn't. It was okay. Check out the Lone Wolf series. Thank you. That's what it is. Oh God, thank you so much. Yeah, the Lone Wolf series is the one that you can like almost like interactive story, and I like those. That's why I love those.
okay.
I love the choose your own adventure ones. That's why I love the. I forgot what they're another like Goosebumps setting, but they were choose your own adventure and stuff. I loved those as a kid. Um, some of them actually did scare me. I'm not gonna lie. And I don't think it's the book that scared me. It's the realization that I just make bad choices. Like,
Yeah.
like,
No,
like.
man, but life would not be life without bad choices.
Oh no, absolutely. But like, I remember one of them was like, oh, it's like a big ass. There's like a big ass plant monster, right? And like, I would always end up going to the wrong spot, and then I don't. Oh, I died, and so I tried to go back and restart. And I was just like, wow, I am terrible at that. Like, if I get caught in any kind of real life situation like this, like,
Mm.
I don't know, like the labyrinth, with the big ass minotaur, I'm not going. Like, I make too many bad choices.
Bad choices. Oh my God.
Like,
Oh man. You know, man, I'm really enjoying this whole podcast stuff, man. I ain't never really did anything like this before. So
oh,
it's
dude, it's fun. Me and Scorp have done it. I've known Black Scorpio for years. I don't even know how many years it's been, Scorp. But like Jack's another one. I haven't had him up on here yet, but I'll get him up on here eventually.
mm,
O'clock. But yeah, they're fun, dude. I honestly have a really good time with them.
yeah, man.
It's nice just to get people all together. I'm trying to do like a bigger one coming
Yeah.
up here with multiple people. We
Oh,
did that once and it was fun. So
oh man. Yeah, yeah. No, some because I'm like, dude, I was like, I need to like start, practicing doing like this face on camera stuff. That's what got my joy like TikTok in the first place. I was like, I need to
right.
saying used to doing this stuff, and it's like,
Well, I know you've seen some of the lives that I've done. Like the one I had at a gaming live today
mm,
that turned out really well.
mm,
We talked about a lot of stuff. We talked about building a better gaming community.
mm.
We talked about like the whole red pill and how we can try to move men away from that space.
Oh God, yes.
Why like there's such an issue when it comes to representation. There shouldn't be low key, but whatever.
Yeah,
Uh, but we talked about all that, and we talked about it in a way that was not really attacking
yeah.
the people, but getting to understand that there is a severe problem with that.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
because I had stopped by your live earlier, and then I was just, doing my morning doom scroll, and then I saw it. I was like, oh, okay, yeah, let me stop in here real quick. And then I heard like some of your conversations. Then I did my normal couple likes, and then I moved on.
no, and that's the thing. Like that's why for ours, the group that I have, it was nice because it felt like it was always done in a way that had to have a sense of respect because attacking is not going to work.
Yeah,
But we are being realistic in the stuff that we're saying
yes,
about these people. So like if it hurts your feelings, sorry, but that we're just literally clarifying
mm,
an issue
yeah,
in the gaming spirit. My goal is to have a better community in the gaming sphere.
Yeah, definitely.
Um,
Because as soon as you start bringing up like red pill this and then representation, then somebody gonna come in and start screaming DEI this and try to troll and make it toxic and
oh
like
yeah, and that's the thing. It's
glad
like
glad that doesn't happen.
no, and you know it happens a lot online. These I said before, these are the same people that'll also not say it to your face.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I've had it before where they were like, well, why, they had to take historically, these historically white characters. And I'm like, honestly, nobody would have a problem with it if they would just tell the black stories like they should.
Yeah.
Tell more black stories. That's what people are asking for.
Yeah.
And then they don't. And I think I made a low key jab about how Disney, because I said that Disney doesn't like. I mean, I'm not saying it's absolutely true, but it was like one of those things where it's like Disney doesn't necessarily like black people. If they did, they'd stop switching them every time they get a chance. I was like, I was like, Soul is a good movie. I like Soul. Uh, but why do I, like, half the movie I have to stay as the literal Pillsbury Doughboy Marshmallow Man?
No.
Like I was like, and then in Princess and the Frog, love Princess and the Frog, fantastic movie. I think it was a great setting for New Orleans and everything in there. Love it, except for the fact that we spend a majority of time we'd only get a little bit of a time of her actually being, all being black, and after
Yeah.
that you're just a frog.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it had to happen because of the story, sure, but I wish that they would also just keep it the entire time. And
Yeah.
so, um, you
Yeah.
know,
Yeah. But we definitely do need more black stories out here because, oh my God.
well, and like I love mythology, right? But I feel like always the big mythologies are always Norse, Egyptian, Greece,
Yeah.
right? And it's funny because Greece, for the majority of it, is I believe canonically white.
Hmm.
Egyptian is I will get in canonically Egyptian. I'm not getting into that. Are they black or not debate? I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
And Norse is canonically white, which was always hilarious when they brought in Angerboda, which most people didn't even know the fucking name of the goddess, or the giant of Angerboda, the wife of Loki. But
Yeah.
when in God of War Ragnarok, when they made
Oh,
her
right.
black, it was like, "Blah,
Yeah.
she's not canonically," and I'm like, yo, you have a dude like Loki who smashed a giantess and then proceeded to have a snake as a kid and a wolf as a kid and a demoness of hell.
Yeah. I
So I
know.
was like, does it? This is your big problem,
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
it's so stupid. And I'm like, I can't wait for them to realize that the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles are actually canonically black.
Yeah.
Like they are, I believe I don't remember what comic it was, but the original writers of that stated that if they were human, they would be canonically black.
Right.
And I was like, oh, I can't wait for that movie.
Yeah, I can't. Yeah, and then especially going back to Loki, you know, saying they will have a major fit if they just go back and read and that Loki was really he was really like like a really he liked men and women.
Oh yeah,
Loki
yeah.
cared
Well,
about
you don't tell them that because they would lose their collective minds over it, and
like
that's the hard part with it. That's the hard part with it is it's frustrating. You know what I mean? Because it's like the one dude who was going on, he did a whole like 7-page comment thing in my comment section, and I'm like, yo, the problem is it doesn't even matter. You can have something has nothing to do with it, and they'll still scream DEI.
yeah,
And then I also mentioned, I'm like, to be honest, if you really want to be fair, I was like, you guys, you attacked the gaming community first, and then had the audacity. You've been doing that for years by calling them nerds, outcasts, blah blah blah, whatever. And then in 2016, your cell group attacked another a lady there that was started all of Gamergate. And I was like, once that kicked off, you can't throw punches and then be surprised when someone throws punches back.
yeah.
That's just not smart.
No.
So,
And
And
I,
that's why I've always like right now my big mythology thing is the thing I don't know if I'm gonna say this right, but it's the Yorba.
yeah, yeah, Yoruba, yeah.
Yorba. And I'm learning about the Yorba and I'm like, dude, this is amazing.
Yes, it is.
Like it is so cool. Like I was like so like I mean obviously, one of my favorite ones is I love reading was about Sanjio and Oya. And right now and I was like, dude, I want these are characters that I want, I don't want Kratos to invade, but like I want, like I want to see more of this. This is what I want to see more of,
Why?
and I just
Why
don't think
not?
they'll do it.
My phone, some text message.
Oh, you getting fire?
Oh no, oh no, they not gonna. Don't forget. Oh, my sister just asked me to check the mail.
Oh, don't throw hands if you ain't ready for the clapback.
Yeah, exactly.
That's how that goes. So, but overall, when it comes to, I think writing is one of the best forms of expression.
Oh man, yes.
Um, it's
Writing for me was definitely therapy, though. It was definitely therapy. I will say that because
mhm.
life has been kicking everybody. life life is definitely life in right now. I will say
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Like, and that's
yeah,
why,
it's therapy. It's very therapeutic.
that's
Yeah.
what it is. And that's why, like, it's fun. It's enjoyable. It allows you to, I think humans are made to be creative. Um, we are made to be creative. So I encourage people to go and write and get your thoughts out on characters because I've used my own issues into my characters,
Yeah.
you know. Um,
Mhm.
I just I for the school that I'm part of, I made I had to make a character and then move the plot along right with a little bit of dialogue, and so I made this. I did a whole screenplay thing where I made this character called P Speak,
Mhm.
and I got inspired by I was it was actually through one of the characters I'm reminding of is Moon Knight, right? It's through
Yeah.
Khonshu, and so this person during this event because it was only like a page or two long because I can only keep it a page or two long. And the whole thing was that it was about this woman who is going into this almost like a cult,
Yeah.
and she's up in the woods somewhere, and this person she knocks on this door, and she goes into the wood into this shack which has a trap door, and then it would cut to Peacepeak telling his story about when his name used to be David, and so it was like a silhouette of his mother screaming at him and just telling him that he wasn't good enough and blah blah blah, and then it would cut back to the woman going through it again. She's going through into this big area, cut back into the kids screaming at him, telling him whatever, until this event known as the Rift hit.
Oh.
And the Rift was it was a supernatural event where energy from a different universe cut itself above this above I think I had it originally it was like a city, but I didn't have a determined place, right?
Okay.
And I've made a lot of characters just around this Rift event.
Oh.
So the it exploded, which actually for some reason I don't remember exactly why, but it fused him. It merged and messed with him. So his face is distorted. It looks very much almost like his face has like a weird almost beak. Like imagine like a human bird hybrid
Oh man.
to it. His eyes are like abnormally large. They're like orange almost.
Oh, I can see.
But they're
Yeah, that's awesome, dude.
yeah, they're huge. He's bald. He's how you see like a bird move and their heads are constantly kind of moving like very very sporadically. That's what his is. So when this girl goes into this area, there is a cult of people all in pews, and behind the tabernacle is this peace beak. He's long. He's got like these bony almost like bony arms. And this girl is dressed in the same outfit, kind of like this weird outfit of theirs, and is trying to hide among them, and he's talking about how his ability allows it so whenever he touches a person they instantly fall under the persuasion of peace speak.
Oh, okay.
And so,
Wow.
because one of his big things was he felt he was never enough. So now his ability makes it so that people crave to be around him. They
Oh,
can't help it. Just seeing him brings this like other. It's almost like a. It reminded me of like when they talk about the angels in biblical sense. They're supposed to be just so odd that they like you don't really can't really perceive them, but they're supposed to be this peacefulness to them,
oh, okay.
and they're all wearing these bird-like masks. And like during it, he as he's talking about it, talking about how like what peace came up with, and how he's going to change the world. It's more than that, and he ends up pointing to the woman, and everybody in that cult just slowly turns their head to her. And
Oh,
as she tries to run, the doors slam in front of her, so she can't get out. And I think I had it is that everything fades to black, and you hear her scream. And the last thing he says is "All hail peace speak."
oh man.
And, and
That's awesome, dude. I
it,
ain't like, oh boy.
it was I had to do that for school, and I was just like I sat there and I was just I was sitting there just typing away at it, and I sent it to my mom, and my mom's like, I didn't really understand. I was really I like didn't get it at first, and I had to kind of explain what it is. She's like, because it was so creepy. I was like, this is. I was like, she's like, I was physically uncomfortable like reading this.
Yeah, no, once you get into those writing zones, man, it just comes out.
Oh, they're so much fun, and that's what it is. It's. That's why with when I finished last night, I was like, it was like 1 a.m, and that's why I started working on the one with Mrs. Claus.
Mhm.
And the whole story of it is that Mrs. Claus she's watching. It's around Christmas time. She's watching, like the kids and stuff, and everyone's playing and everything. And all of a sudden, time slows down, and this elf shows up named Maynard.
Yeah.
And he shows up with these two, like in this jacket. He's got jacket and glasses on. He's got a broken egg on his back,
Man.
right? And he's talking that Santa. So Santa's dead. Santa
Uh,
was taken out. And so Mrs. Claus is now, she is the next one for it, and Peter Cottontail wants he
oh,
wants the North Pole, because there's the reason why is because there's a calendar there. That calendar allows, if I use that calendar and I rewrite days, that changes humanity's aspect of what those holidays are.
oh man. So,
And so yeah, so I'm writing this, and I'm like just going along with it, just doodling away. And I'm like, I want Mrs. Claus to be a badass, right?
well, Miss
And
Clark.
so in there, Maynard's trying to talk, and he's kind of confident. He's trying to play it off. Hey, I used to be an elf with you. I just this just made the better sense to me. Blah blah blah. And then they got these two massive like rabbits, both in like red, black sunglasses. I love that shit. And so all of a sudden, as she's talking, both of them just it's a little red dot, right?
Hmm.
And the little red dot looks up, and boom, they both get taken out.
Oh man.
And they drop to the floor. Both, I'm like in a pool of their own blood. There's literally brain matter spilling out.
Oh man.
And he's sitting there freaking out. And Mrs. Claus is just like, nah, this ain't like, basically, like, she starts saying how, like, we built that empire together. But, like, it was different. He might have been the face, but I was the brains and the brawn of this operation. Like, and
Oh,
so well, Santa got the big, Santa's natural coat. The coat always changed to fit. So hers is much more silk. It's a little more silky down the line. She doesn't, I mean, despite the fact her being so old, she doesn't look old. She might look like she's probably in like her like early 40s. She's got like white hair. She's got the glasses. Her coat has like this like big old like fur around the top, all around the brim of it, you know.
yep.
And
Awesome, dude.
oh yeah, and it was so much fun because she ends up walking out, and Maynard's like freaking out, and realizes the one that took them both out was Rudolph. And so Rudolph took them both out, and she hits a little click thing on the chair underneath him, and she starts walking out, and she's like, "Oh man, I really missed your hot chocolate. That's a shame." You know what I mean? But then she like walks out, and I remember exactly what I had that she walks out with. But like she basically tells him that you chose the wrong side.
Yeah.
And he's sitting there, and all of a sudden, next thing he realizes that glitter shoots up, and it starts to singe off his. It's just singeing his hand, and he just disappears out of existence.
Oh
And
man.
then when time starts, everyone keeps going through like normal. They can't see the rabbits. The rabbits have now disappeared out of existence too.
Oh
So
wow.
everyone's moving, and she just walks out of the mall.
Oh wow, man. That is. I mean, and plus, you don't see that often because usually when they make stories about the North Pole and Santa Claus being a badass, it's usually focused on Santa Claus being the badass and not Mrs.
Mm-hmm.
Claus being the badass, and that's awesome,
Oh
dude.
yeah, and I loved it because I had this like she has like she pulls a cigarette out, and then every time when she lights it, boom, that's when the gun went off. So that was supposed to represent the signal that she had for Rudolph as soon as he saw that light.
Okay.
And it's just like I was like having so much fun with it, and I was like,
Oh
bro,
man.
I'm not gonna lie to you. Like I would write this and send it off as like a Quentin Tarantino film. Because that sounds like something he would do. You know what I mean? Like, like
Pulp Fiction meets.
oh yeah. And so I'm talking with my friend, and I'm like, I need to find out exactly who I would have play like Mrs. Claus. And my brain was like firing on all cylinders trying to figure it out.
Oh yeah.
Still can't figure it out.
Oh man, yeah, cause yeah, right now I'm working on my main story, and then I have this like other little story that I'm gonna kind of write like years later, but I'm already building that now, and it's like a science fiction like space opera type of story. It's kind of like oh my God, it's like when the that's like when aliens kind of like seeded Earth. Um, it was they gave like it was like melanin. It was supposed to be like this superpower. Yeah. And then about like every like 10,000 years, like this cosmic like entity comes out and start like devouring suns. And now it has chosen, saying, our son to feed on next. And then like this like alien civilization that has been fighting this like cosmic thing for like millions of years, they kind of need like our help now because they have like evolved to like be peaceful, like
Hmm. I
and
like that.
yeah, and they have evolved over the years to be peaceful, and they had seeded like Earth to like one day help, and then like the black people, and then like melanin is supposed to be like this superpower, and then like all of that. It's like I'm still building it though, but it's
Right.
like oh my God, I'm kind of inspired by solar punk, like
Mm.
solar punk stories, like Afro solar punk and futuristic
Mm.
type stuff, and I'm steady building that now. I started like plotting that out like last night. I was like, oh my God, I can make so much with this idea, like these cosmic like entities and different like worlds. It's like oh my God, I don't I don't even know where to go with the story right now, but it's just in my mind, and then once I start building stuff like that, it just goes.
No, it really does. So I found when I said so the ending, the last thing she says, because her name is Melody,
hmm
is she says, "When you switch sides, Maynard, you made my naughty list. Not a lot of people live after making my naughty list." She's like, "Merry Christmas, Maynard," and then that's what she did. And I was like, "That's what I do. I have so much fun with like just it's just the wildest of shit."
Oh yeah,
You
man.
know, there's one I'm gonna be working on soon. It's another really short one, short passage one, but it's called "There's Something in the Painting."
Something in painting. Okay, yeah.
Yes. Um. So it's something in the painting is revolved around the guy going to an art museum, and he's like, I don't really want to be here. And they're like, I mean, any ideas, whatever, or he doesn't want to be there. He has no idea why his girlfriend's pretty much taking him there. And as he looks in every single painting, he just sees a figure just kind of looking at him. And so as they just keep going through the art museum, he keeps seeing that she can't see it, but he's seeing it more and
Yeah,
more and
you
more.
say that. Oh my God. Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Like, oh man. Know what I'm saying? Ah, golly. Great things, man.
But yeah, it is. It's great, man. But what we're gonna do, we'll wrap this one up for certain.
Yeah.
Been like an hour and a half, which is perfect. I think that's perfect time for a podcast. I don't know how some people do these. Like, I know there's one on YouTube that does like it's like 8+ hours.
Oh, wow. Oh no.
Yeah, I mean they'll go through like it's the I forgot what they're called, but they'll go through like they're like the super anti woke groups, but like they'll go through like a movie or something or like a TV show and they'll try to break it down, and I'm like, bro, this is 8 hours, like 11 hours long. I'm like, how are you still sit? Like, I can't sit in this chair longer than an hour
No,
with a day.
no,
Nah, I'm
no,
like,
because I'm sitting here now just trying to shuffle, be like, yeah,
oh,
yeah,
I know. Like, I'm like sitting there, like, bro, I'm gonna have to start getting like one of those lazy boys. So
yeah.
sit in
Yeah,
the
I know what I'm
chair.
saying. I definitely had to get me a new like gaming chair because um my other one is I had like some of the real early ones, and
Hmm.
the wheel done popped off and everything. I'm like,
Oh goodness, yeah, I got this one, and my wife bought me this one, and I love it. I love it. It's no matter what, it's still sitting in a chair. And my dog just came back, so she wants something. So she wants to go outside. But I appreciate you being here, man. I really do. I appreciate you taking the time to do this.
oh, definitely, man, definitely, because this was like really fun for me because I was like I never did anything like this before, and now I'm gonna be like, how can I like do this better next time if I'm ever here, you know?
Well, and I'll send you the thing to I'll send you the video to this too if you want me to.
Yeah, yeah.
Just send me your email and or I don't know if you did or not. I don't remember, but like I'll send you the whole thing once it finally gets done and uploaded. But you
Yep.
want to if you want to let people know, that's the last thing you always try to do is let people know where they can find you. Since you said you do have TikTok.
Okay, my writing name is Raymond N. Murray. Okay. I do have a website. It's RaymondNMurray .com. So and I also on TikTok as Blurred South Ray the Writer. Yes, sir. That is me. That is where I'm at everywhere. Okay. Um, but yeah, look for me. Look for me. I'm gonna be coming out pretty soon.
Yeah, it's great having you here, Ray. Thanks for from Jack. So
Oh yeah. So right now I'm about to hop on my PlayStation.
yeah, I'll probably gonna let my dog out and then do the same thing.
Yeah, yeah.
So, but as everyone else, you guys know where to find me up on YouTube, Twitch, TikTok, all the other good jazz and all the other shit. So I'm
All
not
right.
gonna explain myself anymore because I'm sick of doing it. Alrighty, everyone. I'm Taylor from AfrofishOG, and I'll catch you all in the next one.